Once upon a time, there lived a killer known only as Faceless. No one knew his true identity, but his reputation as a ruthless and cunning predator had spread throughout the land. He was known to strike without warning, leaving behind a trail of victims who were never seen or heard from again. The name Faceless was given to him because he was always careful to keep his face hidden, either with a mask or by wearing a hood, and he was rumored to be able to change his appearance at will. Faceless lived in the shadows, hiding from the light and preying on the unsuspecting. He was a master of disguise, and could blend into any crowd without drawing attention to himself. His victims were always chosen at random, and he would often spend months or even years stalking them, learning their habits and routines, before finally making his move. One dark and stormy night, Faceless set his sights on a small town at the edge of the forest. The town was known for its peaceful and quiet way of life, but that was all about to change. Faceless had learned of a wealthy family who lived on the outskirts of town, and he had a plan to rob them of their wealth and make them suffer. The family lived in a large, isolated house surrounded by tall trees and a high fence. Faceless approached the house quietly, slipping through the shadows and avoiding the patrols of guard dogs. He was determined to enter the house unnoticed, and his plan was flawless. He had studied the layout of the house, and he knew exactly how to get in and out without being seen. Faceless slipped into the house through a window, moving silently through the halls and rooms. He made his way to the master bedroom, where the wealthy family was sleeping soundly, unaware of the danger that was lurking in their own home. He crept closer, his hand tightening around the handle of his knife, and just as he was about to strike, he was surprised by a sound from the next room. A young girl was awake, and she had heard the intruder. Faceless quickly changed his plan, and decided to take the girl as a hostage instead. She would be the perfect bargaining chip, and the family would do anything to get her back. He grabbed the girl and held her close, his hand over her mouth to keep her from crying out. She struggled against him, but he was too strong, and he easily carried her out of the house and into the night. The family was frantic when they realized the girl was gone. They searched the house and the grounds, but there was no sign of the intruder or the girl. The police were called, and they launched a massive search operation, but it was as if the girl and the killer had vanished into thin air. Days passed, and there was no word from the kidnapper. The family was beside themselves with worry, and the police were at a loss. It seemed as if Faceless had won this time, and he was gone for good. But that was not the case. Faceless was not one to give up so easily, and he was not finished with the family yet. He had taken the girl to a secret location, deep in the heart of the forest, and he was slowly breaking her spirit. She was terrified, and he relished in her fear. He would talk to her for hours, telling her of his plans and his past, and she would listen, too afraid to move or make a sound. Days turned into weeks, and the family was growing desperate. They offered a large ransom, but there was no response. They searched the woods, but they found nothing. It seemed as if Faceless had vanished into the darkness, taking the girl with him. But then, one night, the family received a call. It was Faceless, and he was ready to make his demands. He told the family that he would return the girl, but only if they agreed to his demands. He wanted them to come to the forest, alone, and face him in a final showdown. The family agreed, and they set off into the night, not knowing what they would find. Faceless was waiting for them, hidden in the shadows. He watched as they approached, and he grinned, knowing that he had them right where he wanted them. He stepped out of the darkness, revealing himself at last, and the family gasped in shock. He was a monster, a twisted creature, and they knew that they were going to die. But then, just as he was about to strike, there was a sudden flash of light, and the sound of a gunshot. The police had followed the family, and they had finally caught up with Faceless. He was arrested, and the girl was rescued, but the memory of that night would haunt the family forever. Faceless was locked away, never to see the light of day again. He was forgotten, just another name in the annals of history. But the memory of his evil deeds would live on, reminding people of the horrors that lurk in